Okay, it's Thursday night, I don't know, almost 8 o'clock, May 8th, and welcome to Scab Apocalypse. You got two choices. You get big ruts in the orchard, or you have complete fresh market losses, because it's never going to stop raining. No video on Wednesday because it's just constantly spraying. I can't stop spraying. Let's see what it looks like as we're approaching the end of the apple scab season. And as you can see from this video shot of the newest screen for the Niagara region, it's not over yet for the Niagara. They're going to be dealing with scab apocalypse for a little bit longer. They're just coming down off of an 11% ascospore discharge and 9 leaf wetness hours, and it's still going to be wet. It doesn't look like anything is forecast for the future but I know there's got to be more rain coming. It doesn't seem like it's over with. It looks like some more splashes here on the 8th and 9th as well. Just be very careful going into this. I think it might be time to try to implement, if you're pretty sure the coverage is washed off and all of the rain that you have, the time to maybe use a material with some potential for strong post-infection activity and protect again. If you can get into those orchards without tearing them up tomorrow or maybe Saturday, try to go in. I'm still thinking group 3 for the rusts and powdery, if you have powdery, particularly up along the lake area. Let's see if Williamson is looking any better. Let's take a look. Nope, they're saying it's no scab event for tomorrow or tonight or today, but it is drying up a little bit. It's constantly wet, constantly cold. Now, I guess the one thing that's probably keeping this from being a scab event is that Mills table. And look at that 45-degree weather. It called the previous day, which was much hotter, around 50, 56, the scab event. But we know that this is still pretty good weather and infections that occurred here. That scab is going to be moving. If I wanted to look at apple scab and it's on leaf and it's covered with all kinds of other junk fungi and other, I guess, biological control agents that naturally occur on apples, I would attempt to grow the scab at around these temperatures, 45, 41, and the other junk fungi don't grow and the scab will grow fine. I suspect you could still be in danger. It might be worth getting in with a single-site fungicide post-infection material. And I think in this case, with the slow-drying and constant weather conditions, cold weather, slow-drying conditions, and the fact that people could be doing bloom thinning, go mancozeb if you have to throw in the protectant. Don't use Cap 10. If you run out of mancozeb and you have fire blight sensitive varieties, use one of the biologicals and get double duty. Many of those will work against apple scab and fire blight. Most of the bacillus fermented product formulations would be good for this sort of stuff. I was just thinking, as I was making extra applications for full bloom of oxidate, that this would also be doing double duty on my scab. Oxidate is a hydrogen peroxide product that will burn things, has no residual, but probably killing germinating canidia as they were happening around the orchard. It's going to be wet. If you can get in there, maybe tomorrow, but be careful, don't tear up the orchards, but don't lose everything as well. They're in a big 13% ejection with a 5% that's just happened. A lot of it's just little bits of doling out, long wetting periods. Interlaken. What does it look like? Sort of between Ithaca and Geneva. Oh, it's worse. Yep. We just came off of one in this area. It makes sense. It's just this constant drizzling out of ascospore discharge. We're at nearly 100. As we go more east, the scab season says it's going to be over, but with this wetting period and these cool temperatures, 48, 44, if we go back to the Mills table, it'll pop up real quick, and you can see it. I'll have to blow this up pretty intensely, but you can see at these lower temperatures, you need more wetting hours. Well, we're getting them, 17, 15. And 5. This is what's happening. So not a lot of ejection. We can't get much more because we're maxed out at about 100% maturity. And so it's just going to dole out less than 0.5%. But 0.5% of billions of spores is still a lot. And you can see it's just constant rain. I'm thinking the same thing. I was able to get around, but if a person put a tractor in our orchards, it would just rip them up. Anything else would just get stuck. Anything less than a real tractor would just get stuck in the orchards. Pretty scary times, and it just doesn't seem to be ending. It looks like by around Sunday or Monday, things will be getting better for apple scab, but worse for fire blight, and we'll talk about that briefly. Let's head up to the Chazy area. I'm sure they're not done yet. Let's take a look at Chazy in Peru. 13% discharge. It doesn't say an infection event. It's kind of hard to believe, but I would think at 57 these temperatures are great. The leaf wetness hours must just not be enough. There must be enough intermittent drying to not pull this into infection event territory. However, with that much discharge, I think I would cover. And if I could get back in there, I would try to put something out maybe early tomorrow morning. And in this case, you could probably even go in with a protectant unless you felt like your coverage was washed off from earlier. It looks like some of the vents earlier in the week are a little bit lighter for that region. I want to check Peru because I want to see if it's different. Let's just take a look at this one. No, it's saying it's just a mess. It's also Scab-pocalypse up in Peru. So depending on where you are, you might get a slightly different prediction, but you're looking at these cumulative discharges 7, 8, 3, 6, and 9. It's just constantly doling out wet weather. If you can, go in with the Mancozeb over the Captan. Slow drying conditions, the propensity for Captan to interact with another fungicide in your tank in the slow drying weather could end up causing damage, particularly if anyone's doing any bloom thinning. Not that people are doing bloom thinning in Peru, but in any of the other locations, it could be something to be concerned about. Let's head over to... it's just a really tough year. Look at all that leaf wetness. Oh. Let's look at Campbell Hall. Let's see. I suspect that, yeah, it's just really bad in Hudson Valley. Look, okay, it says all the ascospores are ejected, but we know that these epidemics drag on, particularly in conditions like this. We don't want any secondary infections to get away. If I was in the Hudson Valley, I would try to come back anytime. When you see combined, yes, that means that there must be some kind of intermittent break in the leaf wetness. Maybe you can get back in there before this next... No, wait, you're right. Wait, this is the 8th. Never mind, it's raining really heavily down in the Hudson Valley. I think in this case you go back with the best, most effective fungicide that you have and see if you can get some kickback on that. Hopefully we're able to squeeze something in earlier in the week to protect forward. Just be careful, particularly in this case with the Captan during this long wetness. Cool temperatures, it's going to be really hard drying, and you're going to be probably closer into doing thinning. If you can get the Mancozeb in there, use that. There's no Xyram anymore. Yeah, be careful. At least it won't. If you do sulfur, you can over thin. It's gonna be a little tricky to get that protectant in there, but pick the best, most potent group 3. If you have rust, maybe even a really strong group 7 by itself type fungicide. If you've already been using a couple of group 3s, you could be into it. And Riverhead's probably going to say that it's over as well, but I suspect that I wouldn't call it quits on this. Hopefully, maybe too early tomorrow morning, there's another 22 leaf wetness hours and an inch of rain. If you can get something in there, I would come in there. I would use a material with post-infection activity, maybe something with a group 3. Several of the things are labeled. Or you can use a group 7. We're starting to move into mildew territory. One of the products that mixes a group 7 and 11, the Luna, Sensation, or Maravon would be a good choice. A little trickier on Long Island because one of them is labeled and one of them is not, and I've sprayed so much today I can't remember which one. Maybe if I'm smart, I'll bring up that beautiful table that I made earlier, and maybe we'll drag that up on the screen, and let's take a look just for Long Island's sake. Well, there it is. Let's take a look really quickly. Group 7 to Ceres. None of those are allowed on Long Island. Well, that's disappointing at best. All right then. I think I would go for maybe Miravis or Provia if I was on Long Island, or if you have another group 3, go ahead and use that beautiful Sevia right up. All right, and then a lot of people have asked about Axios and post-infection activity. I've not tested enough in that regard. We only had one trial last year with the company and had very specific timings and stuff like that. I've got the product in my trials a little bit more, and because we've had a season that looks like constant rain, I'll be able to give you some idea about when I put this out and how much activity that we're end up getting. Yep. All right, let's see what else that we have going on. Let's switch to fire blight because fire blight is also happening as well. All right, let's see. Riverhead says blooms are open, but let's just pretend that they're not. I'm going to move this model a little bit ahead because I am scared of rat tail bloom and troublesome products. First bloom up. Just actually put in the real date then. Maybe it was working after all. It says it's too cold for fire blight, even on Monday. We're not getting a lot of stuff. What's the weather say it's going to be on Monday? It's really hot in Geneva. 63. All right, it's cooler on the coast. What can we say? Easy fire blight season. Let's take a look if anyone had long-lasting bloom or rat tail bloom. Sometimes at petal fall, the infections can be even more challenging than full bloom because some of the flowers are still susceptible, even at that late stage, even if they're early petal fall. Let's go see how the Hudson Valley is doing. And shoot blight, blossom blight. No, it doesn't even have one. Wow. Okay, didn't even pick a date. Well, let's just go back a little bit. And it's probably suggesting that it's over. Are you in risk? No, not really. Seems like things are cool in the Hudson Valley. Looks darker for Geneva. We're going to go see what it looks like up in Peru. And I'm going to go check Chazy as well. Pretty easy. Well, maybe it won't be that. Oh, there's a little bit of 71 forecast on the 13th for Peru. But the early part of the week is only 58. So I guess you're looking pretty good. And you know, these weather things love to change. 69. It is a warm day coming up. But we'll investigate that again on Monday. Let's go into the Voorheesville. I think we're going to skip Voorheesville for Scab. Pop back and take a look at that as well. Looks like they're not getting a really intense. It is starting to pick up a little bit on the 13th, but nothing is giving me caution. I'd say let's wait and worry about fire blight a little bit later in the week. I'm going to pop back real quick on Voorheesville. Check out Apple Scab. What's it say for that? Oh, it's a big mess like everyone else. Clearly there's a break around 7 and 8. There's a break. It's going to start up again on around the 9th pretty intensely. If you can get something in before that 1.7 inches of rain, you'd be looking pretty good in Voorheesville. Now let's get back to fire blight really quickly and check out the middle of the state. We'll look at Interlaken. We'll see if they are looking okay for fire blight. What are we looking like? It's not too bad. It looks like the next warm day is going to be the 13th, so it looks like we have some time on that one. It may skirt through. It's getting pretty deep into full bloom in the Finger Lakes region. It looks like you don't have to worry about things for quite some time. It's really zeroing out, but it will pick back up in the middle of the week. Easy. This is just Scabocalypse season. This is not fire blight season. You could escape through bloom unscathed at this particular moment. Things looking pretty good. All green. And then we'll end up with Appleton for all green as well. Well, it looked like earlier today, it looked like it was going to be a hot Monday. Maybe not. Or when I come back on Sunday and do another video, we'll check that out then as well. All right. Looks like everything is good. Focus on the apple scab. Watch the cap 10 in the slow drying conditions, particularly with any bloom thinning, and use the best post-infection material out there. In that case, use that group 7 mixed with 11. 11 is really good on powdery mildew as well, if you have that out there. And you can get the 2 single sites in there and really do well. And if you're on Long Island, they don't allow any of those, sadly. All right, see you soon.